Hello everyone and welcome back to Affinity for Commander. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be taking a look at the face commanders for the upcoming Doctor Who Commander deck Precons, and making many DW references along the way.
Like what?
Spoilers. If you like any of the cards I'm going to be talking about here, then you know you should be checking out the fabulous people over at cardmarket.com. Link in the description. Or if you're one of our viewers from the land of freedom and spray on cheese, then be sure to check out TCG Player or Flipside Gaming. Links again in the description box below. Using these affiliate links doesn't cost you anything extra, but really helps the channel out quite a lot. Now, let's take a look back at an older Doctor.
Doctor Who?
Exactly. Heading the Blast from the Past deck is the 4th Doctor, a 4/4 Time Lord Doctor for 2 generic, 1 green and 1 blue mana. He reads, you may look at the top card of your library anytime. And has, Would You Like Her? Once each turn you may play a historic land or cast a historic spell from the top of your library. When you do, create a food token. Now we've seen similar effects to the Doctors before in cards like Falco Spara or Elsh the Infinite. These two however have different restrictions in requiring counters to be removed or Elsha only being able to cast non-creature spells. The 4th, however, is restricted in the fact that you can only cast historic spells and only once per turn. But you do get a food token that comes along with it. So you can then have stuff like Artifact or Life Gain synergies to go along with it. The casting of historic spells, however, does go fabulously with his companion. Sarah Jane Smith is a 2/1 human detective who must be referred to by her full name at all times. She reads, whenever you cast a historic spell, investigate. This ability triggers only once each turn. Now she also has Doctor's Companion. Now what this means is you can have Sarah Jane Smith as your commander along with any other legend that is the Doctor. These two together not only create the deck's banned colour identity, but as a means we're also able to cast historic spells on top of our library with the 4th, then investigate thanks to Sarah Jane. A lovely bit of synergy and card draw reward for a historic deck. Moving forward in time slightly.
Time doesn't work like that.
I'm regretting doing this already, but now going on to our next deck with our lovely timey-wimey nonsense with the 10th Doctor. The 10th Doctor is a 3/5 Time Lord Doctor hunk for 3 generic mana, a blue and a red. He reads, Allons-y, whenever you attack, exile cards on the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Put 3 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. And timey-wimey. For 7 generic mana, you time travel 3 times. Activate only as a sorcery. What this means is that for each suspended card you own or each permanent you control with a time counter on it, you may add one or remove one, and then you do it 2 more times. Now this is a card that I initially read and went, it's okay, but then had to reread to find out that no, it's actually really good. The Allons-y ability triggers whenever you attack, so you can attack with 3 creatures that were out even before the 10th was played and get 3 triggers, putting 3 non-land cards into exile with time counters on them. Plus you also don't even need to attack with the 10th himself, he can just sit back and let other people fight for him, which I don't think that's flavorful, it feels not flavorful. This works especially well with the best Doctor Who companion ever, and I will fight anyone on that, because that is Rose Tyler. Rose Tyler is a 2/2 human for 1 generic and 1 white mana. She reads, Rose Tyler gets +1/+1 for each time counter on it. And Bad Wolf. Whenever Rose Tyler attacks, put a time counter on it for each suspended card you own and each other permanent you control with a time counter on it. So realistically you want to be having the Scottish national treasure that is David Tennant and Rose out at the same time. Attack with multiple creatures, put loads of cards into exile with suspend, thus making Rose much bigger. You just have to make sure you attack and stack the triggers so it goes Rose, then the 10th, so they'll then resolve in reverse order. Honestly, I love these two and they're actually the deck I'm really excited to be playing and messing with, seeing how they deal with suspend as a mechanic, mess with the time counters, because currently you just kind of suspend a card and get nothing. These two actually make it so you get value from that mechanic alone. Now there is another commander in the deck of the Face of Bow that could lead it, but personally I just don't really see him as a commander. He's more of a good 99 card to get intermittent value out of being able to cast or spend cards for really, really cheap. The 10th Doctor and Rose, meanwhile, have higher power level, incredibly good synergies. A truly heartbreaking scene of true love where, oh my god, he didn't even get to say it back to her. Meanwhile, the Face of John Barrowman, spoilers, is a good way to cheat in high mana costed cards by just paying off that suspend cost, but again is a good support card, not really commander material. And moving on to the Doctor's latest incarnation, to the 13th. The 13th Doctor is a legendary Time Lord Doctor for 1 generic, 1 blue and 1 green. She is a 2/2 and reads Paradox. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. She also has Team TARDIS at the beginning of your end step. Untap each creature you control with a counter on it. So the Doctor here is going to be all about impulse drawing or even some recursion from your graveyard to be able to put +1/+1 counters on your creatures, whereby she then does a good impression of Merc Fiend Liege, whereby she'll be then untapping all your creatures in your end step. But you do get to put counters on creatures via just playing, let's say, another commander, which brings us beautifully onto the 13th companion. Yasmin Khan is a 3/3 human detective for 3 generic and 1 red mana. She reads, tap, exile top card of your library. Until your next turn, you may play it. So having impulse draw on the companion with the Doctor makes them very happy, as we can now be putting +1/+1 counters reliably on our creatures to then untap them in our end step. This means that during our turn we can tap Yasmin for that impulse draw, cast the card, and then put a counter on Yasmin to then untap her in our end step with the 13th Doctor's ability. Synergy. But what would Doctor Who be without the villains? Probably a very boring and very short show, so let's get on to them in the Masters of Evil Precon. The face commander of the deck is Missy, a 4/5 Time Lord Rogue for 3 generic, 1 black, 1 red, and 1 blue. She reads, whenever another non-artifact creature dies, return to the battlefield under your control face down and tapped. It is a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. And at the beginning of your end step, each opponent faces a villainous choice. Each artifact creature you control deals 1 damage to that opponent, or you draw a card. And then chaos ensues. So firstly, absolutely love the complete graveyard hate, which is both flavorful and just powerful, because we're not even exiling the cards here, we're actually bringing them under our control as artifact creatures, which is both, again, fabulously flavorful, and also means that it's going to be increasingly unlikely that our opponents are going to be getting repeatedly damaged in the face by them, and instead letting us draw all of the cards in our end step. The last bit of the ability, however, Chaos Ensues, that's only if you're playing with the Planes Chased cards that come in the deck, or presumably any of the other Planes Chased cards there's in Magic. And all that means that on the plane you're currently on, you activate the Chaos ability of that particular plane. Nice and easy, but if you're not playing with them, don't worry about it. So I do like the design of Missy. They're incredibly flavorful, getting loads of Cybermen from downing creatures, which, ooh, that's going to hit some people really hard. But overall, Grixis has good artifact synergy, so yeah, I'm down for this. There are, however, 2 other legends that could be the helm in this deck. One of these other commanders is Davos, Dalek Creator, a 3/4 alien scientist with menace for 1 generic, 1 black, 1 blue, and 1 red mana. He reads, at the beginning of your end step, create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace if an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn. Then, each opponent who lost 3 or more life this turn faces a villainous choice. You draw a card, or that player discards a card. So Davos makes a dude, and then does a cheeky Sig River Cutthroat thing where we should hopefully be getting all 3 of our opponents to either give us cards, or lose one themselves. This is easy enough with cards like Grey Merchant of Asphodel, Bond of Agonies, or just burning them with Gyres Emulating Inferno. That way we get our Dalek from Davos, and then a combination of drawing or making our opponents discard. And to help support all of this voting, we have the Valeyard, a card that is much like the Face of Bow for the other commander deck, a card that I think is way better in the 99 to support the overall theme, rather than actually, leading it. Personally, his mana cost is just too high for me, but you know, voting an additional turn can be brutal in certain circumstances. Now, I guess everyone's own worst critic is themselves after all. Or their future selves. From these Legends of the Four decks to command, I'm honestly going to go with the 12th and Rose as being the best one for this. And no, it's not just because I have a massive man crush on David Tennant, as important as a factor as that might be. They offer suspended cards more value and get to both advance a board state with the 12th triggers and go in for commander damage with Rose. The 13th is kind of just Simic counters with Impulse Draw. The older Doctor I do like for the historic theme, but it's a bit slow for me, and the villains do have a good thing going with choices and artifact synergy, but as always, the good guys always win for me. And of that you can be as sure as the fact that I'm going to be sat crying in the corner whenever anyone plays the Van Gogh card against me, because just... Oh god, he deserved so much better. But that will actually be the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Which precons are you most looking forward to? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one of them. As always, this video and all Affinity for Commander content is made possible thanks to the support of our amazing patrons. You guys are truly awesome. If you too like to help support the channel and become a patron of yourself, then be sure to check out our link in the description box below. You can also support the channel a few other quick and easy ways, liking this video, subscribing, and sharing on your preferred social media platform. But that'll be it from me for now, guys. As always, I have been Alex, and I will see you next time.